Normally, the question amongst reverts is, oh, akhi, how can I give da'wah? How can I call my parents to Islam? Or my mother to Islam, etc. What I found amazing about yourself is, and your story, it's the opposite, right? It's your mother, she became a Muslim before you, and she's giving you da'wah. So how was that experience? Like you spoke about when you felt depleted and then you started to research, etc. First of all, how long was that research period for you? And secondly, when you finally did decide to become a Muslim, how was your mother's reaction?
Yes. So to answer your first question, how long it was about 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
That is how long it took me to really, delve deep and so forth. And then upon that, of course, in addition to that, I started my in-depth, studies regarding the Quran and so forth. But sure, during the time that I was a Christian, and I was basically like I wouldn't say a youth leader, but we had congregation at our home, right? And it was like a ritualistic thing. Every Wednesday, all my friends and the people of the church, they would come to my house and we would play music on the screen and we would have praise and worship. We'd start singing and so forth. And during this time, my mom actually, she started studying more about Islam. So she would kind of separate herself from it. But she would not outright tell me that you're not allowed to do this. So she would still give me my room to develop. So during that time, I would always try to turn the music a little bit louder to try and call her back to Christianity and so forth. And during that time, she would oftentimes call us afterwards and she'll make us cookies and tea and coffee so we can all sit together and have a nice discussion. And she would interact with some of the people that are there, start asking them questions about their perception of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. And she would reference some verses within the biblical text and also the Quran and talk to them about Islam and so forth. But she never did direct dawah with me. The only time she did direct dawah with me was when I realized that, listen, I need to spread my wings. I need to rediscover who I want to be in life, because the quest of following my father's footsteps was starting to wither apart. So I decided to go work abroad for Royal Caribbean. Then what happened was that at the airport, she held me in a close embracing hug and she prayed a prayer over me to this God, Allah, who I did not know. I completely rejected at that time. And she asked Allah to send a very big angel with me, to guide and to protect me upon my journey. And I left for my flight and I landed in Australia and I got up on my ship. And that is when I opened my bag and I realized my mom put a Quran in my bag. Now that is the dawah that she really hit me hard with, because she told me that in order for you to debate against the Muslims one day, in order for you to have interaction with them, you need to know what they believe. Because at that time, I realized I don't really know what they believe. I would throw these verses at her, trying to reject her and so forth. But fundamentally, I don't really have that perspective of what the foundation of Islam is. So that made rational sense to me. And therefore, I dedicated myself to reading the Quran. And I just read 1 to 2 to 3 pages every night. And I found myself completing the Quran from cover to cover. So the dawah that she did with me is just, it's extremely wise, because she did not try to, to throw information at me or anything as such, or to take me upon a journey. I think that at that time she was still also learning. But just to give me that Quran, just to encourage me, have a read at this, do your studies regarding this book so you can understand what Islam is and where they come from.